Welcome to the No Limits podcast with your host, Willy.
All right. All right, guys, we're back. It's No Limits with Willy. Got a special guest today. It is my friend, the coach, Cortney Meyers. How's it going, Coach Cortney? How you doing, man?
Everything's good, brother. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. We've been planning this for a while. I'm glad we can finally get it to happen now. Let's give a little recap on everybody who's not familiar with Coach Cortney. He's a jiu-jitsu coach out of Youngsville, Louisiana, my old training partner and coach as well. He's an awesome guy, family man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Coach Cortney. Who are you?
Yeah, well, like I said, thanks for having me again, man. It's a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine. I'm a first-generation jiu-jitsu instructor in my family. Like I said before, majority of my family came and say jiu-jitsu, or spell it, much less say it, right?
It's the Cajun curse, man.
What is that, man? We able to choke people out in their pajamas, That's the best way I can explain it to my family, But yeah, I'm a first-generation jiu-jitsu instructor in my family, and it's kind of crazy how jiu-jitsu has how and why I've kind of feel like I've gravitated to jiu-jitsu, right? But I was raised in Lydia, Louisiana, which is probably about 40 minutes from where my school is at in Youngsville. Now I own a certified training center in Youngsville called Gracie JiuJitsu Youngsville. We were the first and only certified training center in the state, certified under Henner and Hito and Gracie. They both are my head instructors. And,
Two living legends.
Yes, man. I tell you what, we talk about picking your mentors wisely, right? And I tell you what, man, these two guys are black belts on and off the mat, family men, businessmen, jiu-jitsu practitioners that are trying to change people's lives through jiu-jitsu. And birds of a feather, I find, flock together. And it was a pretty cool gravitational pull when I made the choice, And,
right.
Yeah, so
I want to thank you for letting me sneak into your academy while you're in there too. You left the window open and I got in here and now I'm filming live in studio.
he really slipped in.
Yeah, I snuck in. So it feels good to be back in here, man. If it has even a stronger atmosphere here, I love it.
Yeah. Well, if you notice that back wall there, man, we fixing to blow out that back wall and add some more square footage to once COVID's over, we're really gonna try to blow the doors off, and I'm proud to have my school in the community where I've been for 22 years. So with the help of friends, family, and the community, we're really going to try to set it off even more, especially after COVID,
Right. The area you're in, the Acadiana, is such a strong culture area too. It's awesome that you're the only Gracie affiliate school in that whole area. So anybody wants to learn that awesome curriculum, go to Coach Cortney.
Yeah, man, we're, it was a long road to get here, well worth it. Got a long way to go. Right. And we're now, we were the only one in the state. And I have a friend of mine, Danny Sullivan, which is going to be opening a certified training center in Covington, which is 2.5 hours away.
Okay, cool.
And it's cool. Youngsville is the fastest growing city in the state of Louisiana. So seems like everybody is gravitating here. So we hopefully have a problem in a good way once we get cranked back up with having to expand, so we're gonna try to blow the doors off. And with all of our trademark programs, Gracie Combatives, which is our co-ed program for beginners, adults. We have our Gracie Bullyproof program for kids 5 to 14 years old. We also started our Tiny Champ program, which is for 3 and 4 year olds, which is a 30-minute climber class. Yeah, because we didn't they mostly had a lot of the striking and punching arts for the younger kids, which is good, for distance management. But I just felt, and we've had a few kids already that we've graduated, so to speak, from Tiny Champs to Little Champs. And it was a beautiful thing to see, 3 and 4 year olds focus like that and absorb, the philosophies and the fun techniques that we teach them.
Yeah. Before I moved away, I lived in Youngsville, Louisiana, and training with you guys, and I got to see some of your training with the kids. So you guys are so natural at it and do such a great job with it. So I strongly recommend any parent out there even if your kid's not getting picked on, it's so good to learn. It's such a good atmosphere. The kids are going to make lifelong friends. You're going to get great guidance and a great mentor from Coach Cortney, and it's definitely a place to go check out. Coach Cortney, let's jump back to the beginning of time, man. To the beginning of Coach Cortney. What got you down this path, and what made you become a jiu-jitsu instructor?
Well, like I said, man, what was the crazy part is I knew I needed jiu-jitsu way back in the day, and wish I had it, but didn't really know I needed it, right? In a sense, if that sounds crazy. You know, growing up, man, I think what makes me, you know, a good instructor is that what I've been through in my life, right? And how I can relate to people on so many different levels. And what I mean by that is majority of parents, right? They wait till something happens to a kid, then want to seek out, you know, the answers. Well, I believe self-defense is the best gift we can give ourselves and give our kids, because we can't always be there to save our kids, right? And once something happens, those scars are going to linger for a long time. And as so it did with me, you know, I got into jiu-jitsu later in life, but when we rewind, right, my dream of baseball got derailed due to bullying. You know, was on track to be as good as I could be, right? However that was. And it got derailed due to bullying, and it really scarred me pretty hard, and it kind of changed my character and everything over my several years until I got into being an adult. But even going further back than that, man, my childhood, growing up with my grandparents, I grew up with my grandparents because what my mom went through as a you know, a young adult, being sexually assaulted, and I lived through all that and seen all the pain and the turmoil she went to, which resorted to substance, right? So my whole goal when I did start having kids, right, was, man, I never want my wife or my son or daughter to go through what my mom went through, nor do I want their dreams derailed due to bullying. So, man, and that's what all started me in the journey of self-defense or martial arts, so to speak, right? And then we can, you know, go into detail kind of what and how from there, you know?
Yeah, without going into too much detail and sidetracking, I do want to say that when you and I first met, we were doing more of a sports style jiu-jitsu. And then you got this nagging feeling that was in you that you just, it wasn't the right style that you wanted for exactly what you were saying a minute ago, but your mother's situation she went through, being bullied, you just didn't feel like it was quenching that thirst. And then you went and seeked out Gracie Academy, the combatives curriculum, got with those guys and dug deep into that curriculum, and then came back and wowed us all, and we all kind of got hooked on that same style. And it was like a cool little evolution of our academy that we're in. And now you're teaching it, and you're doing great with it and constantly growing. You're traveling all over. It's really encouraging to see, because I think you have two full-time jobs, or a business you run?
Yeah, I have a lawn and landscape company that I've been running for almost 18 years now, full-time.
Yeah, that's a lot of labor.
Blowing and going. And, you know, I was, you know, took the leap of faith that my wife used to call it my hobby, my expensive hobby. Now we've invested in my school building. I have some tenants that rent from me. And, you know, after COVID, man, we're really going to make a big, hard push to try to make the dream come through and have it as my full-time job, and subbing awesome. Some of my other company out to where, you know, I can balance the family, balance the businesses, and continue to change people's lives through the art of jiu-jitsu, you know?
Yeah. We've spoke many times privately, and I've thanked you for all your guidance that you've given me, because you've been there for me in a lot of down spots that I've always been very grateful for. And you being a father, a father of two, a husband, a business owner, a jiu-jitsu instructor, it's just exhausting the amount of stuff that you put into things, and I never see you complain. It's such an encouraging thing that you have going, and I really commend you for it. And I want everybody to know that too, that this guy is a hustler and a grinder. Nothing's handed to him. He's just kicking ass out there and getting it done.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Kind words. It's all your product of your environment, right?
Yeah.
Being raised by my grandfather, all he knew was hard work. And seeing that old man work every day of his life, even till this day, me being 42, fixing to turn 43 here soon, I look back on any and all days that I have that was hard. And I'm thinking, if that 80-year-old man can do what he did in the ball and heat out there, what's my excuse, right?
Right.
So he's kind of, drilled that into me in my younger years of that hard work really and truly does pay off. And if you're passionate about something, it's pretty hard not to eventually prosper if you being a man of your word, right?
Yep. So I don't want to go in too much detail with having your mom. That's very unfortunate, but
no worries.
So that lit a fuse in you, I'm sure, that you just don't want to see women being mistreated and all that kind of stuff. And I know you're in the process of doing the women's empowerment program as well, which you'll be teaching that, which is really good stuff too. I've seen Henner and his wife do a lot of seminars about that, and stuff's fascinating.
Powerful. I feel that one of the number one women's curriculums in the world. Yeah. They have it all figured out. There's a lot of people that's going to try to recreate the wheel, but it's created right there. It's in so much detail. It's so inspiring. And you rather have the tools in your tool chest and never have to use them, than need them and they not be there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because domestic violence and boundary setting and everything that we learn in the Women Empowered program is just so beneficial in your everyday life. You know what I mean? Just like jiu-jitsu. I use jiu-jitsu every day in my life. I use it in my business. I use it in with my family. I use it in this podcast. I mean, jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? You're missing the boat if you're not kind of getting some form of fashion of it, I feel.
Yeah. To all my fellow nerds out there like myself, it's the closest thing out there to the Jedi Force. That's real. Once you get into it, it's like you start respecting people way more. You realize like the balance of it all. You get out of bed differently. Everything changes. It's so addictive and fascinating. And it's an endless pool of knowledge that you can never swim the whole pool. You'll never learn everything. You'll learn fundamentals. I just realized my mic stand is out of the green screen thing. That's pretty cool. This is magic in the Gracie Academy.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, you'll never learn everything there is for jiu-jitsu. It's constantly growing. It's constantly developing. I'm sure the Gracie brothers are constantly adding new things to the curriculums and sharpening stuff. It's just an endless amount of knowledge that you can learn and better your lifestyle that I strongly recommend people jump into.
Yeah, like I said, man, the best gift we can give ourselves and our kids is the gift of self-defense. And, when you talk, I seen just, there was this picture and it says, it's all about mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And then I seen another one that was talking about dreams way more than excuses. And it was an elephant and a butterfly. And that just kind of resonated kind of deep in certain things in my life, right? But there's one thing that always does is that we never know who we're talking to, right? We're never knowing who we get in an altercation with, because you never know what they know, but going back a little bit, man, I was going to tell you, about, how I got involved with the Gracie University.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really inspiring. And I also want to tell you that, I wouldn't have told you about my mom, and I don't mind telling any and all people about my life and what I've been through, because I feel that if somebody's watching or somebody's listening and I can change their mindset on the big miscommunication that people have about jiu-jitsu, mm-hmm. and they want to step on the mat, and we can tell them the difference between a certified training center and other Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools, and they come give it a shot, I guarantee you, we can change their life.
I completely agree.
but it all started, you know, I started training jiu-jitsu in a basic Brazilian jiu-jitsu school, and competed a little bit, learned a little bit of jiu-jitsu and got very, very tough, right? But just something was missing. And what the component that was missing was we wasn't training no punches, no kicks, right? So I was getting a false sense of security, I felt. And it wasn't until, you know, my daughter was born and I started thinking, man, do I want to teach her this, right? And then I think the straw that broke the camel's back was when a good friend of mine's son had got assaulted at school, and he reached out to me for help, and I really didn't have the answers. And it was at that point that I said, man, you know, against all the grain, against what everybody said down here, I said, man, I researched it, found the brothers, Henry and Hedon, and I said, I'm going to take a 2-week trip against what everybody said, and I'm going to go. Matter of fact, I was training with a friend of mine to go compete in Japan. We were training to go compete in Japan. I said, man, I'm not going to compete. I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to the Gracie University, where it was Gracie Academy at the time, before Henry and Hedon opened up Gracie University. And I said, I'm going to go see what all this hype's about. And when I tell you, it was the best decision I ever made in my life, you know, with the Gracie Combatives program and all the statistics that's behind it, right? Because 98% of the people you're going to get in an altercation with in your life will be unskilled. And that's what intrigued me so much about the Gracie Combatives program, that they focus on the 36 most common attacks that you likely encounter from an unskilled opponent. And it's a structured curriculum. And the cool thing about it is you don't need any experience to even try it out. It's our co-ed beginner program, trademarked, right? And, you know,
that's probably the thing that I hear the most from friends when I try to talk people into joining jiu-jitsu, because I've known to be pretty obnoxious if you're friends with me. If you don't do jiu-jitsu, I'm constantly trying to get you to go do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And the most common excuse that you hear, which I'm sure you've heard millions of times, is that sounds cool, man. I want to get in shape before I get in there and start doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, you got to just let go of that. It's not about getting in shape to go do it. You'll get in shape as you do it, and you'll enjoy the process. And it's a lot more rewarding than going and sweating in the gym and throwing weights constantly, which is important too and good for you. But just get in there. Stop hesitating. Just dive in and go try it out, because you will be addicted.
Yeah, well, and I think the whole hype is, right, people have a big misconception of it.
Yeah.
They think they're going to go and after their half of their first class, they're going to spar and they're going to get beat up. Yeah. And hey, it's a good possibility. But I can tell you, at a certified training center, you don't ever have to spar.
Right.
And I always tell everybody, do you want to learn a little bit of jiu-jitsu and get tough as nails, or do you want to learn a lot of jiu-jitsu in a structured program and get tougher over time?
A big thing people don't realize too is that jiu-jitsu academies are not MMA camps either. You're not going in there and get thrown against fighters and people that are trying to become professional fighters. It's its own martial art, and you're going to be in a very controlled situation. Your instructors, like Coach Cortney, are not going to throw you to the wolves until they feel like you're ready to go and start doing that kind of stuff. It's a very accommodating system. That's why I'm such a proponent to it. I love your story you just said about Japan to California. I love any kind of situation in people's lives where they have a fork in the road and they go one way instead of the other, and how much that it's crazy to think about how much of a change that would have been if you would have went to Japan. Think about where you'd be at right now. You'd still be stagnant and frustrated, and all this great experiences you've had in these last few years, it wouldn't even be there. It's such a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah, I've traveled and trained with a lot of black belts, you know, over these last couple of years, and I've met a lot of, you know, guys that I really look up to from, just some places that I travel almost every year. I go to Destin once to twice a year. I train with my friend Carlos Diaz. He's a level 4 certified training center, and any and all of these guys I talk about, if you guys are in the area, go visit them. Top-notch guys. Tell them I sent you. And if you train at any other certified training center, when you go visit them, you train there for free. So it's a win, really cool. Right? I go to Torrance 2 to 3 times a year, depending on my schedule, and train with Henner and Heat On straight from the source and their instructors there, from going up there for instructor certification to better my my teaching, from going there to train with, I go there a lot sometimes with 2 of my friends from Australia, Scott Butler and Robbie Singh, which I was supposed to go to this year, but the wildfires kind of cut that out. So we're going to try to replan that.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we go to Arlington once, sometimes twice a year. So I'm traveling, man, several times a year for a GST, Gracie Survival Tactics, which eventually we're going to try to get that down and host that at my school, Here shortly, I'm going to try to get up there to Tulsa, Oklahoma to train with Robert Davenport to do testing for some stripe promotions and trying to further my ranking, and we were just actually next week, me and my son was supposed to be in Manchester, New Hampshire with another friend of ours, Stephen White, for my son's catching camp. Well, that COVID messed that up. And I'm like, man, I was going to train jiu-jitsu up there. So
yeah,
just trying to immerse myself in any and all possibilities that I can to, add to my Rolodex, right? Because everybody has their own journey, you know what I mean? And the cool thing about the Gracie combatives is, and people that train at a certified training center is the beauty of it, no experience needed. And you don't have to be in any shape. You're going to get in shape over time.
Right.
Slow is smooth is fast is the mindset that we talk about every time. And any and all things that people can't do, I'm going to modify it to make it happen. And if I don't know, I'll never teach outside of my pay scale, but I have the direct hotline to make it happen. So that's the thing. You never have to rush. And man, we got guys up into their 60s that train with us that never spar, and they don't ever have to.
Yeah.
Because the cool thing about the Gracie Combatives program is that we teach you the techniques that force the bad guy to exhaust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we take those single techniques and we put them in combination at what we call reflex development. So we kind of simulating a slow and progressive controlled way to get you ready for a street fight. So it's a beautiful system. I'm so glad to be part of the family. And probably the most flack I've ever got with starting with Henner and Heat On was, man, you're not this ranked yet. Man, you're not this ranked yet. Or, man, it's taking you a long time to do this or that. But here's the deal. I said, at the end of the day, they holding us accountable to the high standards, and they want to preserve their grandfather's art. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Speaking of their grandfather, who's that gentleman behind you?
Oh, man. Grandmaster Elio. That was a 100-year. I'm a big Grandmaster Elio nut, right? I really love everything he's about, and I really love his grandsons. And if you have time, man, to read up on this guy, he's a pretty fascinating guy, and in the way he taught, in the way he talked, just everything about him, and his mindset, right? So this was a cool picture. I have this picture up at my school, along with his other picture that we take pictures under.
I can see it right now. It's over there.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's over here.
And there's a big there's a saying that I have that he had said on that I'm putting on my wall, because we're doing, like I said, a big renovation in there to accommodate a better seating, a more quality flow, and just a better overall package internally, externally of the school, and make it, the best experience for people that comes in. And I really want to, show people the difference, right?
Yeah.
But he said one time, he said, our jiu-jitsu represents the triumph of human intelligence over brute strength. Kind of like, it's not all about muscle. You know what I mean? It's about your skeletal system, how to use your skeletal system, and how to use timing and leverage. And it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, really big, proud to be part of the family and proud to be waving this flag, you know, because I felt I had to separate myself some way, somehow. And I wanted to focus 100% on self-defense, right? And I couldn't have made a better choice, you know, in it.
I completely agree, man. You've as a person, your light has gotten brighter since you joined the Gracie University too. Since I knew you before that, and then after, it's definitely where you belong. This is part of your story for sure. How are you holding up as a Jiu-Jitsu Academy instructor, business owner during all this COVID-19 chaos?
Yeah, that was it's been tough, man. I've been completely shut down since COVID. No students, and you know, there's several other schools that's going against the grain. Louisiana has a no contact guidelines right now. There's other schools that's doing it, and me and my wife spoke, and you know, it wasn't worth the risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful that my other business is still doing well, and I'm thankful that, you know, I was able to purchase my building and land. So we bought it as an investment. And I do have some tenants there to kind of soften that blow up. But if I didn't have my lawn and landscape company, man, I really, it's kind of gut wrenching to even think where we would be, because zero revenue coming in. And I even thought about, you know, 6 feet apart and all this, and getting some of these kids and adults in with solo drills. But I still felt that as if somebody's going to get, you know what I mean, get hurt in the mix of it. How can I pick 6 or 8 kids? How can I pick 6 or 8 adults? So we still are kind of stagnant. We're phase 3 to come out. I have a lot of people wanting to learn me to teach them right now. So we just kind of holding the reins back, man. I'm trying to get a bunch of things done internally, revamping the painting of the walls and decals, and just really honing in the business side of it also, to where we can deliver a dynamite package and follow the recipe 100%, like Henner and Hedon and the Gracie University and other certified training centers around the world.
With your students, I believe I might be wrong with this. So the Gracie University has a website they can go to and kind of stay sharp on all this stuff as well, with videos and tutorials, right?
Yes. So we have gracieuniversity.com. It's our online platform, to where if, you know, for one, being enrolled at an active certified training center, if you travel for business or pleasure, you can travel anywhere in the world. If there's a certified training center, you train at no charge. Any and all techniques that you do there, you get credit on your card when you come back. So you constantly climbing that ladder and that journey ladder, you know.
That's really cool.
GracieUniversity.com, where any and all techniques that we teach, you can review them online. We give you full online access as an active student, and you can go review them before class to make sure you're real sharp when you come. If you miss a class, you can review it, train with your buddy, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. I'd like to know how many hours every day of my life, when I wake up in the morning earlier than my family, kind of getting my day in order, drinking my coffee, that I watch GU, and with me and my buddies that train, you know, 3 to 5 times a week for my progression, right? That I review in the afternoon when we're training with them. You know, it's a pretty beautiful, you know, Gracie Combatives is a skeletal system of the Gracie system. And from there, you piggyback on top of, which goes in the master cycle right after you get tested and promoted to combatives belt, going in the master cycle, your path to blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. And it's just, these brothers have put so much time and effort into it that it's a pretty spectacular system, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Are your children still training as well before
Yes.
COVID?
Yes. So my daughter had broke her elbow, kind of derailed a little bit. She's back full swing. And that's another thing, man. I'm glad you asked about the kids. Thanks for that. My son is the sponge of the family. He's been doing it since he's 3. He's working towards his next belt promotion. He's got several hundred hours on the mats, and you know, we expect nothing, praise everything for him, and he's starting to have a lot of questions now. He's 9. Well, Dad, what about this?
He's 9 already?
9, yeah.
Wow, time's going by fast.
Yeah. So he's I feed the fire, and that's what was cool about the Gracie's philosophies and mindset, because when I first started jiu-jitsu with my daughter, I went completely wrong. I pushed her too hard. The way I taught her was completely wrong. I was too aggressive, and it all stemmed from what I had been through in my life and how important it was for me to deliver the message to her, and I burn her out. And I just kept praying about it, man. Just, Lord, give me wisdom and show me how to get her back on the mats to where I can, you know, because I always want, because mom and dad can't always be there to save their kids, right? Mm-hmm. But jiu-jitsu can always be the chaperone. So my whole goal for my kids is, if I'm not there, my daughter's 14 now, and she's going to start going to parties, and she starts her freshman year of high school. If she gets put in a predicament, I want her to be able to set that verbal boundary. And if it's crossed and she needs to turn the light switch off, she's going to turn it off. You know, absolutely. No questions asked. Call dad, and then he'll go pick you up. No big deal.
Wow. I can't believe she's 14 now. That's there. Time's going by so quick.
5'6", man, unbelievable. So
wow.
Really, really wicked, mean triangle choke. So for all the little boys, that's
watch your kids.
Yes.
Tighten up, keep yourselves in line. You don't want that trouble.
Pretty powerful. But yeah, so I really was able to revamp my life with the mentoring of Henry and Hedon and their grandfather and their father's philosophies. And I backed off, and man, she started gravitating back. So we just I'm feeding the fire as much as she wants it.
Right.
You know, and we're going to go from there. But they love it, man. I really hope, you know, one of them will take over second generation, because I'm really hoping to go full steam in this and you know, change people's lives through jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah, that was a question I had for you too. You kind of just answered. Where do you see this going long term? And you're one of your kids taking it, or both of them taking it over, would be such an awesome accomplishment. And I mean, whether they go that route or not, whatever they do, I'm sure you'll be proud of. But that would be really cool to see Evan, or what's your daughter's name again?
Laney,
or either one of them take over and do that. It would be so cool. No matter what, they're a handful for anybody that gets out of line.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, it's with our Gracie Bulletproof program that a lot of people don't know about, right? Is, you know, kids won't know what to do when they verbally attack, much less what to do when they physically attack. Mm-hmm. And you know, knowing what's on the bully's mind, and we talking about we have rules of engagement, right? From avoiding a fight at all costs to handling their business, taking them to the ground and putting them in a submission and negotiating. So it's a pretty powerful deal to, you know, because I'm just a big believer in, you know, a confident kid, you know, is a bulletproof kid, right?
Right.
And to get back to, you know, my long-term goals, you know, I have some long-term goals, you know, but first long-term goal is just to, you know, I don't want to be, you know, talking about being healthy and longevity on the mats. I also want to perform it off the mats, right? I want to lead by example. So my first goal would be just to stay healthy on and off the mats, right? As long as I can, and just have longevity to where I can continue to change people's lives through jiu-jitsu. And when I do these podcasts and stuff like this, I hope I can just target a certain group of people that was on the edge, right? I'm not sure, and change their mindset to think like, well, man, he experienced this and jiu-jitsu helped him. Mm-hmm. Right? Maybe I can try it. And with the Gracie's curriculum and the Certified Training Center, right? I believe that we can cater to a majority of everyone.
Absolutely.
you know.
I'm glad you brought up the kids thing too, because a lot of people that listen to this, including my mom, she's a regular watcher. She's my only listener. She she doesn't know much about any of this kind of stuff, jiu-jitsu, and for kids, you're not teaching kids to go out there and kick another kid's ass. You're teaching them how to protect themselves, diffuse the situation, and if it doesn't to get diffused, then they know how to control it. So no kidders getting hurt, which is something that is very important for children, especially nowadays. Stuff's just getting worse and worse. And the jiu-jitsu teaching for that and the Gracie teaching for all this is so spot on and really good. And if you aren't sure about it, you're a parent, you don't want to throw your kid to it because you're just not sure. I'm sure any school will let you come in there and watch a class for free. You can get an idea, or you can go on the website and learn about it. It's all there for you. There's no pressure, and it's just I don't know what to say, but just go do it.
Yeah,
go try it.
You know, the thing about it is, you know, any and all people that's on the fence about their kids, you know, yeah, you're right. The cool, they can go to Gracie University and look at the map, and they can see exactly when and where their certified training centers, right? Out of the thousands of jiu-jitsu schools in the world, I think as we hold right now, and I could be wrong, I need to double check that, I think we're at 140 certified training centers in the world. That's it. That tells you one thing. They want to preserve their grandfather's art. And Grandmaster Elliott had a saying that he said, there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu practitioners, but it takes a special person to be a teacher.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? So, yeah, and man, I find that the character development, man, we focus on different chapters, you know, and we have a 2-week free trial year round. Get the parents to come in, check it out. So that there's really, you know, what better than not having any obligations, any contract to lock you in after the first class. Come for a 2-week free trial. Go to our website, gracieuniversity.com or gracieyoungsville.com. See what it's all about and come give it a shot. There's nothing to lose, only to gain.
Absolutely.
You know,
as far as the style that you guys teach there too. So anybody who's completely just ignorant and doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu, the jiu-jitsu that your typical school teaches is basically jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. That's what we call sport jiu-jitsu. And it's very effective. It's very entertaining. It's a very complex thing to learn. But like Coach Cortney said early on, it doesn't give you what you need to answer a kid who's having the problems being bullied. If you're in a certain position, just not getting punched in the face, or how to control something. So the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, the combatives program and the curriculum is to have jiu-jitsu mixed with striking and stopping like somebody who's out of line, or a drunk guy, or a kid who's trying to beat up another kid. They learn how to stop these situations by not escalating it and by de-escalating and controlling it. And that's where this jiu-jitsu where it shines. And that's what we're talking about and why it's so important for this kind of stuff to be learned.
We talk about fighting fire with water.
Yeah.
You know, diffusing it, not adding logs on the fire, adding water to dissolve it, right, and make it go out. You know, I have a lot of parents ask me, okay, what's the difference between the striking arts and jiu-jitsu? I said, well, here's the deal. If I had to simplify it, right, now I've taken Thai boxing, I've taken Western boxing, right? I've done a little bit of wrestling, I've done a little bit of Wing Chun, right? The cool part about jiu-jitsu is that we can inflict as much damage or as least as possible. If a kid is bullying you, okay, an adult is bullying you, and all you know how to do is strike or kick, how am I going to strike or kick soft enough to not hurt that kid and make him leave me alone, or make that adult leave me alone? Whereas jiu-jitsu, we can take the fight to the ground, we can apply a positional control or submission, and I can negotiate until the kid leaves me alone. I can negotiate with chokeholds or joint locks, you know, and you know, this law enforcement thing right now, man, is just going kind of crazy, man. But we got a new gi, and I'm glad they put the Grandmaster Elliott saying on the pocket on the inside, and he talked about when it comes to tough guys, you know, there's no tough guys when it comes to a choke. Everybody goes to sleep. It doesn't matter what you're on or anything. So, You know, and that's what's cool about our Women in Power program. It doesn't matter what that crazy assailant's on. If we get to a position where we can render them unconscious and get home safe to our family, it's a beautiful thing. You know, and my daughter had some bullying problems in school, and I never forget when I told the counselor, and she says, I never heard somebody tell me this before in such a calm manner. And what I told her was, I said, here's the deal. My daughter's going to use these rules of engagement to deal with this bully. Okay. So if you call me and said, hey, your daughter's been in an altercation, I'm coming get her from school. No worries. Cause she's set the boundaries. She's talked to the bully. She's told you guys. Now the last resort that my daughter has is on her own. Okay. Now I can guarantee you, she's not going to punch or kick the bully. She's going to establish control and negotiate. Now, if she gets in trouble and she's followed all these rules of engagement and I get a call to come get her, I'm coming get her and go and bring her get ice cream because she's done her job. And everybody knows. She's told everyone in her circle what's going on. She talked to the bully, set the boundaries. They've invaded them. She's told you guys, you're aware of everything this kid's doing. So why am I getting a call? I don't have to get a call. She's going to do what she needs to do. Pretty powerful tool to pack in your kid's lunchbox to send them away.
Yeah, absolutely. And if every kid had that kind of training, then you would have any of these bullies too. It's a bully eliminator because jiu-jitsu makes you very humble and respectful to others. Because you're constantly testing yourself with each other and simulating chokes, simulating joint locks. You learn to appreciate each other more. So the more kids that are actually doing these martial arts and getting deeper into this curriculum, you'll be a lot less bullies out there pushing their. Well, y'all still can have bad parents, but it'll still clearing up the playground a little bit.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's you know, a bully is not born; they're built, right? They're a product of their environment, and more times than not, I can probably say statistically wise, is that once a kid uses jiu-jitsu and negotiates with that bully, he's going to humble them, and chances are he's going to change the mindset of that bully. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's the tool right there. Right. To, you know, make them realize like, man, you know, for one, I don't want to mess with this kid anymore. And two, man, he didn't even hurt me. And I was trying to hurt him. Yeah. Can we be friends? It's pretty powerful, powerful tool, right?
Can we be friends? And can you teach me that cool stuff?
Yeah. Come to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Youngsville. Sure.
Yeah.
2-week free
Sign
trial.
Up. Yeah. Yes. Go get it.
Yes, sir.
What are you guys doing on your downtime right now when you're not training, not working, not developing the business? What are you and the wife doing to stay sane during these times?
So, man, I'm a pretty ambitious guy, right? I'm always, there's always something in the pipeline and even if the pipeline's stagnant, I'm always trying to become a better father, a better instructor, a better businessman, everything. So I'm never stagnant, right? And it gets me in trouble sometimes, right? I gotta, just like when I talk, I tell you guys before I start, I ramble. So just hook me, bring me back. My wife is always reeling me back in because I'm always striving to be better. And, you know, I feel that's a good quality to have, but no, with my family, man, my son just finished his travel ball season. My daughter's just wrapping up her sand volleyball season this weekend, and my wife's just kind of bouncing around with us, man. You know, trying to keep me
all together
off in the field. Trying to start another company, you know, but I've honed it in, man, and we're putting 100% of our effort in running my lawn and landscape company. She's a big asset to that. You know, she really helps me across the board with that. And the behind the scenes at the jiu-jitsu school, and especially since we've revamped a lot of stuff internally to try to really, you know, make the brothers in Gracie University proud of what we're doing here in the South. It's something we can always be better. You know, and that's every time I travel, and that's the cool thing, man. I've never met in this Gracie family, right? And the Gracie family is big, right? I always say I'm in the direct pipeline of Grandmaster Elio, Jorge and Gracie, and his sons, Henry and Hedon. It's a direct pipeline. And I feel right, that water is purest, it's closest to the source. And yeah, man, every time I travel and meet these mentors, right, I always come back really rejuvenated to try to, for one, it shows you not how bad you were teaching, how bad you was a follower, but how much better you can be, right? Mm-hmm. As a family man, as a speaker, and it's jiu-jitsu, you know. These guys don't put themselves on a platform, right? They just lead by example, and we gravitate to I think, some of the two of the best guys and other mentors I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, they're great guys for sure. I haven't met them yet, but I've seen what you've experienced, and I've seen a lot of other guys that are in the business that have met them and flourished from them. You've met some really cool guys in this process too. You met was it Vince Vaughn? He trains with the brothers.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn I've met, man. Brian Ortega, Lyoto Machida, Mark Munoz, Brandon Schwab, and the list goes on, man. For black belts that's been following the Gracie Grandmaster Elio way for years. So it's so awesome to hear these guys' mindset and that survival mindset. You know, and you know, Hedon's on this hype right now. It's a defend, escape, control, submit mindset right now, and man, it's a beautiful thing. You know, I don't think I've tried to submit anybody in the last, I don't know how many months. It's all survival mindset, which is it's a beautiful thing. You know, I never, you know, with that sport mindset, it was always a shotgun approach, and there's no time limits in the street, you know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to visit you guys and getting choked out by you.
Well, we might have to turn that switch on when you get here.
Yeah. Well, it will come on. It will come on.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Well, hopefully we'll finish the renovation, man. We're going to be, like I said, blowing that wall out. We're going to continue the Gracie green mats and everything. So, man, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get it finished. And when the students and new students and existing students come back, man, it's going to be a real breath of fresh air. And, you know, when they walk in, I want them to feel like it's home, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be exciting when you guys get to open back up and go full force again.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach Cortney, let's jump into the 6 questions. You ready for them?
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 1, what movie can you watch over and over without ever getting tired of?
Interesting question. Man, I'm on this Transformer hype right now.
Transformer?
Transformers. I'm just, man, I'm on this Optimus Prime hype right now, man.
Optimus Prime. Which one's your favorite so far? I think I've only seen the first one.
I've seen them all, man, and really truly, if I would go in the you know, in the living room to pull one out, and it doesn't matter which one, I can close my eyes and pull it. You know, I'm pretty much oh man, my wife says I'm a product of repetition, right? I get hooked on something at a restaurant. I eat it and eat it and eat it till I can't stomach it no more. Same thing with movies. And, but I got to say, man, I don't watch too many movies, but that would be my favorite movies, the Transformers. 'Cause seriously, I immerse myself every day in trying to grow my forest with jiu-jitsu, right? My knowledge from GU, and every day I talk to somebody about jiu-jitsu, try to educate them about the curriculum and mindsets and philosophies. So yeah, I'm trying to just live it, you know?
Cool. I like it. Number 2, what's the best practical joke that you played on someone or that was played on you?
Man. So being in the lawn and landscape industry, man, we were at this job one time, and we had killed a big old water moccasin, huge. Well, it was killed by accident due to You know, it was killed due to big machinery, right?
Yeah.
We were digging some stuff out, and he was in there, and it killed him. So I was like, dang, you know. So I called him up inside the front landscape, just sitting there, and I tied some fishing string on it so they couldn't see it. So I had one of my guys go to the bush, and I said, man, get the shovel. It's live. We got to get it out of there before we trim it and all that. And when he went, we was videoing, and I snugged it like it was going to bite him. And man, he was backtracking and crawfishing, and it was the funniest thing, I think, the joke I've ever pulled on anybody.
That sounds funny. Making good use out of a dead snake. I like it. All right, number 3. If you could time travel one time there and back, which time period would you choose?
Oh, man, honestly, just because I'm on this jiu-jitsu hype, and I think I'll be on this hype for the rest of my life, I would really like to travel back in time to try to meet and get touched by Grandmaster Elio.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, and just to immerse myself in whatever 1 hour private or whatever, or 1 day in his life, you know, I would really love to do that.
That would be really awesome. Number 4, what is something that really irritates you? I could think of a good one.
A bully.
You. A bully? Yeah.
A bully. It's a trigger, man. A bully or just, man, an obnoxious guy that's trying to, you know, talk to a lady or be disrespectful, man. It's just 2 triggers that trigger me, set me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know for sure. I know another one for you that's good is you don't like somebody saying they don't have time for that.
Oh man, yeah, you know me good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your whole day is just nonstop grinding, man. And you hear somebody say they don't have time to do something, don't have time to train, don't have time for that. It makes you want to laugh because of how much grinding you're doing your 24 hours.
Yeah, it's yeah, and then when you look on Facebook, they're always on. So I'm thinking, you take that 15, 20 minutes, you could have did some form of drilling or something to contribute to your journey.
Yeah.
So no excuses.
For sure. Number 5, what is an item in your home that is special to you for sentimental reasons?
Cool. So I have, so in my home, I have a picture of my grandparents. Like I said, I was raised by my grandparents since I was 2 weeks old. Didn't really live with my mom and don't really know my real dad.
Oh, wow.
So I have a picture of them in our living room. That's an original, but I also have one of my grandfather's saws. It's a big Passepartout saw that I hold real near and dear to my heart, that I have up in my shop for him. So yeah, it's I would have to say that.
That's awesome. Are your grandparents still with us?
No, my grandmother died in 92 and my grandfather died in 96. So okay. My kids wasn't fortunate enough to meet them, and my mother died several years back due to substance abuse, I feel, all resulting from the sexual assaults, I believe, you know.
Wow. Well, I know your grandparents would be definitely proud of you, man. You're doing a great thing.
Yeah, I think they would, man. And I can only, you know, be grateful of the wisdom that they poured into me, from work ethic and, you know, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, I was blessed to be put in that environment. And the more, it's like the older I get, the more analogies and everything my grandfather would talk about and say, when I thought he was kind of off his rocker, mm-hmm. right? I use in my everyday life with my kids. It's the craziest thing, you know?
Yeah. It's funny how that works, man.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to the last question, but I'm going to ask you, number 6, what accomplishment are you most proud of? And that's outside of your kids and your wife.
Right. So I'm proud of what I've accomplished in jiu-jitsu, man. And it's not sitting here, hey, I'm ringing my bell, but I think I was the blue belt in the state of Louisiana, promoted through Hinner and Heat On, which I was promoted by Carlos, but Carlos is a black belt on the Hinner and Heat On. Mm-hmm. And chaining off of that, I had the first and only certified training center in the state. you know, and like they say, oh, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I'm the only one in the state, and my buddy Danny Sullivan is going to be the second one. So we're really looking at funneling the state and really using that pipeline to promote the art, you know?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's such an awesome thing to be a part of, man, and to be doing. You're setting a trend, and you're a pioneer of Louisiana if you think about it.
Yeah, I believe so, man. I just, you know, I am who I am. You know, I don't ever put myself on a pedestal because I believe in humbled confidence, right? And that's how I teach my kids. And I believe that jiu-jitsu is for everyone, but you want to kind of pick your recipe, right? Mm-hmm. Some people kind of gravitate towards the sport, and that's fine, as long as you're doing it. Yeah. I just feel that the Gracie's curriculum and their philosophies and mindsets, it goes way beyond jiu-jitsu. Just like, you know, the Bullyproof program, it goes way beyond jiu-jitsu. We're teaching these kids character development to where we're trying to make them better men and women for society and in their lives. And there's not a lot of, you know, positive role models and mentors that can do that, you know. And we don't understand how much just one single word or a little phrase or sentence that we say that can impact that child's life, you know. So it's a bigger picture to me. It's not all about joint locks and choke holds and who you can beat up, you know. It's about the whole other mindset, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful, man. So where can everybody find you and support Coach Cortney at? Where can we?
Cool. So you can go to our website at gracieyoungsville.com. That's our website. And you can also go to our Facebook page, Gracie JiuJitsu Youngsville. There's two main spots on there. You can reach me on. We're also going to have a sub-site here soon coming up on Gracie University to where we can kind of, any and all people that searching it, they can piggyback, catch us, and bring them in a loop, so to speak, where we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Coach Cortney. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to do it again for some time.
My pleasure, as always. And the mats are always waiting on you, and the door's always open for you, Willy.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you, guys.